G'day folks, Mark here from Grolife Property Services, and I'm really pumped today to be joined by Steve from Amber Technology. And Steve, you look after Sonance?
Certainly do.
And Sonance is a quality loudspeaker company. They do resi and commercial applications. And what we want to do today is actually take you through the Sonance Design Gallery, which we have here on the iPad and we'll be showing on your screen. So do you want to give us a brief overview of what Sonance Design Gallery is?
Sure can. Thanks, Mark. So Sonance Design Gallery is a tool which is safe for any stakeholder to have a look at in a project, and it's a way of trying to distill lots of products into an easily digestible visual way of seeing some concepts and ideas of what can be really handy in modern construction and for audio. That's really what it's about.
So Sonance has a range of speakers that cover a range of budgets. I suppose for me as an integrator, while I have your standard quality in-wall, in-ceiling speakers, what really excites me is their way they make sound disappear. So like here, for instance, we have our Invisible series, which we'll do some info on. But the Design Gallery shows you the concepts that are available from your standard speakers designs into how do we make it disappear. So let's have a quick look at the app.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll show you the app. It's a really cool free tool. So Sonance has a very strong history in residential, professional and marine audio. And so this tool, as the opening landing page, gives you the option to go into any of those categories.
So you're telling me you've got it in your super yacht?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome.
But if we were speaking to, say, a professional client, we can split straight into there, and we'll have initially some images to give some ideas of where speakers have been used, pendant speakers, etc. But then we distill it down in the bottom here to installation locations into the key categories where speakers do go into buildings. So we've got ceilings, walls, outdoors and displays. And in each of those categories, we can then distill down to some simple solutions that are commonly used. So for example, if we go into ceilings, common ceilings, drop ceiling, gyprock ceiling, wooden ceiling, open ceiling, slatted, and some hidden base options as well. So once we're speaking to a stakeholder, whichever that stakeholder is in the project, we can start asking questions about the project. And then once we know materials that are in that project, that is what helps us to jump in and out of this tool and give some visualizations of what might work really well in that space.
So what you're telling me, so this tool will suit everything from the design to the integrator to the end customer?
100%.
Awesome.
Yeah, 100%. You can use it with any of those people. For example, if we say, okay, we've got a gyprock ceiling in this space, whatever that was, we can show some examples of what's available to go in that space. In this case, it's a retail space, but this could be hospitality, could be a boardroom, but the concepts would be the same. So in this case, we've got our standard in-ceiling speakers up there, which we would normally match the shape to lighting, round or square. And in this case, your standard one would be a white speaker. We have a square grill option on all of those sort of speakers.
And so your square grill is with a round speaker in this application?
So in this case, what we do is still do a round hole. And this comes with the round grill, but there's an option. We just buy the square adapter and grill. It has magnets up in the corner, so it really holds that up nice and tight. Minimal shadow lines, looks amazing. Really to match the lighting or the architecture that's in the ceiling space.
And these are paintable too?
100% paintable. And great story, because that's where we're going to head now, is that we're going to be getting into being able to colour that grill to match whatever's being used. So realistically, and I've zipped along there a bit quicker, is we can do round, we can do square, we can bring that down into a much more refined 75mm grill if required, and then we can colour code all those grills to match.
And so with the 75mm, you're essentially putting a loudspeaker behind and then pumping it through a port?
Totally. So instead of the mechanics being at the front of the speaker and having to cut a big hole to suit that, all that mechanical part of the speaker goes behind the ceiling and you're porting it out through a very small grill.
Amazing. And that's for indoors and outdoors?
Indoors and outdoors.
Amazing.
The final solution here, the ultimate design to disappear, would be to put an invisible speaker into that space.
And I'll add some videos of an invisible speaker going in so people can see. Honestly, the thing that sucks about doing videos about audio is you can't actually hear how good it is. But I tell you what, when you compare the original picture on here of the standard standard speaker, which will generally have around 100 to 120 degree dispersion with the audio. And what that means is the intelligible part of the audio. So when I'm speaking, the clarity of the voice, as soon as you start going off axis, you start to hear it more muffled, and it's hard to really pick up the intelligibility of what they're saying. What blows my mind with these invisible speakers is the wide dispersion. So we're talking 170 degrees. So you can pretty much stand on a right angle to that wall, and it's just as clear as in front. So it's not only an aesthetic gain, it's a performance gain. It's phenomenal.
It's coverage and comfort zone gain as well. Once that invisible speaker goes into that ceiling and you're finished over it in a paint, acrylic Venetian plaster, if it's a wall it could be wallpaper, it can be a paperback timber veneer. End result, you don't see anything at all.
That is so cool.
So that's just one of the options. I mean, we've also got obviously things like open ceilings where we've got options to put surface mount speakers on the beams,
and
perhaps.
That's traditionally what I have been doing.
Right, yeah, which is, there's projects where that's the right answer. There's projects where having some form of a pendant speaker might be the right answer. There's projects where we could actually refine that down and have an aluminium extrusion machined with whatever speakers were required, and actually now fit this to the bottom of the beam, color code it, pop the grill on, and actually now you don't see really the speaker at all. No one knows it's there.
That's amazing. If you can maybe see in the top of this video, like, we've just got timber beams everywhere. We could make it disappear using timber aluminium
finished speaker,
finished speaker, and you wouldn't even know that that's a speaker when 100%. You're standing away from it. That's awesome.
Now another big commercial space finish is a slatted ceiling of some type, and there's lots of types of this type of product, and we're not showing by any means the extent of our full coverage, but just a couple of ideas to get people thinking would be through the James. We've got very thin extruded speakers that can be configured in lengths required, colours required, and speaker configuration you require, which can then be mounted either through the top of the speaker, through the side of the speaker, and then give you really fantastic audio through the slat.
Yeah, because traditionally in this environment, we would either have to put a speaker behind the slats, and then really the slats will affect the dispersion and really create a barrier and block sound dispersing outwards, or we'd have to pull a pendant through, so you're taking away from the aesthetic of that slat finish. So that is an awesome solution, but
there's an even better one.
Make it more hidden.
We can refine that down even more. So again, if we take all of the mechanical part of the speaker, the bass driver, and pop that into an aluminium enclosure behind the slats, we could then use a spacer that was the right width to suit the slat, put in our mid-range, put the grill on the end, and have that line up with the bottom of the slats. And now all the mechanical part of the speaker's behind the slat, but we're getting amazing audio coming out now through a 75mm grill.
And so that is the same solution you're talking about with the low apertures.
Exactly right.
I'll do a cut over in the video of the different finishes with it. So that there, we can have it come through a grill.
It can come through a white, there's actually 16 standard colours, could be laser printed or whatever colour it was needed.
And we can flush that with
completely flush that with a surface. So it could be a sheetrock finish, solid surface finish. We can actually make it out of timber as well with CNC
And
parts.
so this tube is aluminium, so you can cut it to the length you require.
100%.
Awesome.
100%. And in this case, if we were doing that, we would then of course make that box black, and now it's disappeared.
That is amazing. So this one here, remember you were saying to me, this is a marine grade stainless steel, so we can then incorporate this in the harshest of outdoor conditions.
It's aircraft grade aluminium, but it is completely marine grade, yes. 100%.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now you got hidden bass, mate. Have you got
hidden bass?
Because we all are about the bass.
Let me get you some hidden bass. Exactly right. Here we're in a hospitality suite. Again, this is just a concept. This could be any commercial space. In this particular space, we're using in-ceiling speakers. So we have the bar here. We've got some pendants that tended to suit the install here. We need to get extra bass into this. One, for when we do want to play it louder and party, but also two, when the volume's down a little bit to add warmth. That's the real key here.
So what I'm finding here really exciting is when we look at this, the subwoofer that we have in this room doing all the bass reproduction is the exact same form as the loudspeaker.
100%.
And I've noticed that is the same ethos across the surface mount, in ceiling and pendant.
100%. They've got an option for all those. And we can mix and match those formats, which is what we're going to show now. Again, whatever suits that project the best. So we could be using pendants, but it could be an application where we were using a pendant here and either black or white surface mount woofers hidden, because that might disappear more.
That's unreal.
No right or wrong, they'll both work really well.
Yep.
It's what's right for that project. A common approach might be to use the smaller form factor pendants if it wasn't a massive space, and add woofers up here so that the visual, this could disappear more, particularly in dark ceilings, that completely disappears. Smaller form factor.
And I want to add too, as we slide through, obviously as you go further along, we're making the visual appearance of the speaker disappear. When I look at this, for instance, with my client base, I'm looking at this right now. This is the perfect solution when I do a multi-purpose space in a school or in a cafe, etc. And honestly, you'll be very happy with the performance, and they look great.
They look great. They do.
So you don't have to hide if you don't want to. And there's some spaces where we want to go for that industrial look.
100%.
Yep.
There's other options like dual 10-inch woofers with variations on where we can port that from. That can be flown, it can go under banquettes, that can be hidden in lots of spaces. In fact, talking about under banquettes, that would be another option. We'll be porting it out here. So lots of different ways we could use those sort of woofers to get hidden bass into the space.
Yep.
Another option might be, we've got a range of different woofers that can go into joinery or go in behind the bar, and then we can port that out through a toe kick. Again, no one
would even know it's there,
wouldn't know it's there.
That's unreal.
Yeah, and you can get some serious bass out of these types of woofers.
And so this kick is just an example. We can customise it for whatever finish you require.
100%. You could colour code that to this if we needed to. We could laser print it if it was timber, whatever. But this is, I guess, really to show the concept of what we could do. Yeah. Another option might be to do an in-wall sub, and there's various formats of that. But to do an in-wall sub where you would see some form of a grille, although the final thing would be, ultimate would be an invisible series sub where you do not see the speaker at all. Look, walls would be a similar concept to ceilings. Another really exciting area for us, because we've got a huge portfolio for this, is outdoor.
Yes.
And outdoor is massive now for audio, of course. There's lots of different options. Again, we can do IP66, completely marine graded, architectural, surface mounted, freestanding, landscape and hidden subwoofers in these environments too. As an example, if we did a surface mount area, this could be a space where we need to get audio into this space. Sometimes you'll have gardens, sometimes you won't. In this particular application, there's not really a lot of places to hide the audio, and probably commonly you would just pop some surface mounts.
I would just be doing 2 surface mount speakers, and I'd have a couple of in-ceilings.
Some in-ceilings up underneath there, which would be perfect. And there may, in a lot of projects, that is the answer. It might be as simple as that.
Awesome.
But there might be times where they don't want to see that, or we can offer a better solution. As an example, we could put a mason box into the steps and a marine grade speaker with metal grills into there as well.
So that would be a similar box to this, but with the stone finish. Amazing.
Correct. With a mason box, pop that in, and there you can have audio, bass, whatever you need ported out through that grill coming out into that space that way. That's an option. Another option could be, for example, to look at things like the balustrading, where in this case we've got standard glass balustrading going around this area. If it was a space where there was no option to put audio, we didn't have any power pots, we didn't have anywhere else to put it, we could actually do a marine grade speaker, the width of this, mounted onto the existing balustrading, cabled from underneath, and now every 4th upright or 3rd upright could be a speaker as you walk around the space.
And sound, phenomenal?
Fantastic.
Yeah, awesome.
Fantastic, yeah. So that's an option. As we said, one of the options could be just some surface mount speakers.
Traditional right there, yep.
And in lots of jobs that might be the answer, but there is, again, some options. We might not use black. Potentially, depending on what the colour coding of the area is, we may go to white, or the white ones are paintable. Or another option might be to go to a wedge style speaker from James, which is a 45-degree speaker that fits up in that corner.
It's a lot more subtle, yeah.
It's a lot more subtle, and while that is kind of cool, the really cool way to use this wedge speaker would be to actually extend it so that it disappears completely, becomes part of the moulding on that surface. That could be configured in whatever format you needed. One that long would probably come in 4 or 5 sections for transport and ease of installation, and you could configure speakers to be in whichever areas you needed. Some might be blanking plates, colour coded to match wherever it needed.
Amazing. What a phenomenal app this is. For me as well, I think this partners really well with Amber. And the reason I say that, I've dealt with Amber for quite a number of years now, is you have a TSS team.
Yes.
So the great thing I've found for me with my clients is we can show the customers this, and then usually the biggest thing is the headache of how do I translate it for what I see here to being saying I can put on a bill of materials and quote.
100%.
So your TSS team, you present the scope to
100%.
them, you show them the solution you want, they'll prepare a bill of materials that you can then push out to the client, to the end user.
Yes.
And that solution there, you guarantee it.
Yes, it'll be designed and guaranteed to be what you need for that space on that scope you've given us.
So usually you'd have a minimum order quantity.
On lots of products you would, particularly if you're doing something custom, they'd normally say, well, we can do that, but we need you to order 20.
Yeah, and that there, you would not order 20.
100%. So with James, which is part of Sonance's group, the minimum order quantity is 1 unit.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And so with your landscape, do we have the little outdoor speakers as well there?
Yes, we do.
Amazing.
So in a landscape area, there's options to put satellite speakers, hidden subwoofers, omni speakers. Obviously there's different sizes and formats.
So they're direct burial.
These are direct burial into the garden here.
They do sound phenomenal. I've heard them this week and been a huge highlight for me, because outdoor space, traditionally you sacrifice performance for the aesthetic.
For the aesthetic, yeah. No. These will give you fantastic coverage. And again, there's no right or wrong answer necessarily. It's a matter of looking at the project, working with you.
Yeah.
What's the right solution for that space?
So, Sonance Design Gallery, this is an iPad app, correct?
It's ideal on the iPad. It works brilliantly on the iPad. However, you can also put that onto a Windows-based machine or a Mac machine.
Awesome. So to register, we'll put the details with the video.
Yep.
But yeah, I want to thank you for your time. We've had a great week showcasing all the products. Honestly, check out Sonance gear. As someone who loves their audio, it's reinvigorated me. I'm really pumped to see where this goes. And thanks for your time, Steve.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Cheers,
all
bye.
right. Thank you.